Thanks for listening to the Woodward Podcast Network. Check out more shows by searching for us on Spreaker or wherever you catch your podcasts. The Woodward Podcast Network with Krupka Dental Associates.
This is Dr. John Krupka with Krupka Dental. Orthodontics is more than creating a beautiful smile. We provide ortho and airway evaluations which can reveal developmental and behavioral issues. Orthodontic treatment is now faster, more comfortable, and effective than ever before. Visit KrupkaDental.com.
Fox Communities Credit Union.
It's Monday, and that means it's time for Bringing It To You Straight. Straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Krause in for Haley Tenpass on today's show, and we're going to get right into it today. We are joined by Heidi Kiecker, fraud officer with Fox Communities Credit Union. And Heidi, first off, thanks for joining us today here on Bringing It To You Straight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jonathan.
Wanted to get you on, talk about some of the scams that are targeting people and what kind of types are making the rounds right now that you want to make people aware of most.
Yeah, so today we're going to take a step back, and instead of talking about a specific type of scam like we usually do, we're going to go talk about how to avoid a scam by identifying the red flags, the signs that it's a scam, and go through each one in detail.
We all like to think that we're financially savvy. So what are some signs or red flags that are still getting past people?
Yeah, so good question. So there are basically 4 signs that I'll say, in quotes, it's a scam that I'll be talking about today. And although I'll be going through each one specifically when identifying the 4 signs, there are a few things to keep in mind. Scammers might not always use all 4 of the signs that I'm going to be talking about. You may not recognize them in the same order that I'm presenting them in. And all of the 4 signs actually could potentially be in one phone call, text, or email. So the 4 signs that I'll be going through today are scammers pretend to be from an organization you know. 2, scammers say there's a problem or a prize. 3, scammers pressure you to act immediately. And 4, scammers tell you to pay in a specific way. So I will just jump right in. We'll get started with the first sign.
Yeah, go ahead.
That scammers pretend to be from an organization, right? So with this sign, scammers are always pretending to be something or someone they're not. They pretend to be from an organization you know and trust because if it's someone you are familiar with, you may be more willing to give them your credit card information or your account information. And I wouldn't be able to name all of the organizations scammers might use. They are pretty savvy and are very creative. But I will say the government is a very easy target because nobody wants to feel like they are breaking the law or defying the government in any way. So scammers might use a real government agency name like the Social Security Administration, the IRS, or Medicare. Because these are all very well-known government organizations. Everyone's heard of them. You see them in the news. You might do different dealings with them. Or scammers could make up a name that sounds official. Some pretend to be from a business like a utility company, a tech or online company, or even a charity asking for donations. So as I mentioned earlier, scammers are trying to get your credit card or account information from you. So they're trying to create fear that you might owe an organization money. And typically, people don't want to feel like they owe somebody money that they weren't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So in addition to pretending to be from an organization, scammers may take it a step further by using technology to change the phone number that appears on your caller ID, right? Typically, all cell phones have a caller ID, so even the name and number could match the organization that the scammers are claiming to be calling from, which makes it harder for people to believe that it's not the real company.
Yep. Process called spoofing.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. You know what you're talking about, Jonathan. In today's world, you rarely, if ever, receive a phone call from a legitimate organization that you weren't expecting. Legitimate organizations would typically correspond with you kind of based on what you indicated as your preferred method of notification, which is usually typically mail or email. So you typically know what organizations and how you are expecting communication from them. So the point of the first sign, I will say, is scammers want to gain your trust by using these organizations. that you're familiar with and get you to buy into what they're asking of you. You can always have to think, am I expecting a call from this company? Why would I be receiving a call from this organization?
One of my favorites is that they say they're from a Wisconsin organization, yet they don't sound like Charlie Barron's.
Right. Right. That is another sign.
So what is the next sign to keep an eye out for that indicates it probably is a scam?
Yeah. So the second sign is scammers say that there's a prize or a problem, right? So now they're trying to gain our trust, and now they're going to help you or tell you that try and fix a problem or entice you with a prize. So there are several scenarios that scammers might use to entice you, but I'll name a few common and again quote unquote problem scammers might use or say. So again, the government is an easy target, right? They might say that you're in trouble with the government by saying that you owe taxes. They might say you owe money to whatever organization or company they're representing themselves as, whether it's, again, a utility company or something like that. They may say you have a problem with one of your accounts and that you need to verify some information, which could be a social media account, online retail account, or an account that you might regularly make a payment to. They might even say someone in your family had an emergency. An example could be a grandchild is in jail or someone is hurt. Or I would say probably a very common one is that there's a virus on your computer. Mm-hmm. So, again, all of these problems could be legitimate issues, right? I mean, these could happen in real life. But I guess you just have to just take the time to stop and think and ask yourself, does this make sense with what they're telling me?
The internet has provided them with the opportunity to sound even more legitimate, because now you can Google and go to the website of any law enforcement agency and find a lot of their officers' names. So when they say this is Lieutenant Simpson calling and there's a warrant for your arrest unless you pay this amount, you can go to the Sheriff's Department website and see, oh my goodness, there is a Lieutenant Williams. Maybe this is legit.
Right. Yep. They're very good at what they do, unfortunately.
Yes.
So, another thing that they might say is that there's a prize. And, right, who doesn't want a prize?
Yep.
So they might say that you won money in a lottery or a sweepstakes, or you have money coming to you from an inheritance. And they might, because they might be trolling and looking at your online profiles and things like that, where they might stumble upon a relative or a friend that then you think, oh, they know that person, so I'm going to believe them that I'm going to get an inheritance. So usually whatever they're saying the prize is, they usually say you have to pay a fee to get it. And right, why would you have to pay for something in order to get something? That's usually not the way that it goes.
Shipping and handling.
Right. So the point of this scam sign is to make it seem like they're helping you with your problem or giving something that you've earned. So now they're hoping that they've gained your trust and are helping you fix your problem or finding a solution for you, which will lead us into the next two signs.
Yeah. Heidi, have you ever won a contest you never entered?
Right. No. Nope. Yep. So it's always just good to think of those things and stop and think before you proceed with anything that is unsolicited.
Why don't we take a break here? Heidi Kiecker is joining us from the folks at Fox Communities Credit Union as part of Bringing It To You straight answers to your financial questions. As I mentioned, we'll take a break here, come back with more discussion on ways to avoid getting scammed here on Bringing It To You Straight on WHBY. Welcome back to Bringing It To You straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. I'm Jonathan Krause in for Haley 10 Past today. We're talking with Heidi Kiecker. She is the fraud officer with Fox Communities Credit Union, and we're discussing signs to look out for so that you do not get taken in by a scam. Just to recap from our first segment, one of the most common ones there is that the scammers pretend to be from an organization that you know and likely trust. And the scammers also like to say that there's some kind of problem that's arisen, or you're the amazing winner of a prize for which you never registered. Heidi, what would be the next sign to look for to know that it's a scam?
Yeah, so thank you for clarifying those two and bringing those up. Then the third sign is scammers will pressure you to act immediately. So now that they've gained your trust, right, and now they're helping you fix your problem or finding a solution for you, with the pressure to get you to act immediately, they want you to act before you have time to think. So they're creating urgency to get you to react quickly and give away your personal or financial information when you probably wouldn't have otherwise. So there are several tactics that scammers could use to get you to act immediately. Again, I probably can't name all of them, but I will name some more popular ones. If you're on the phone, they might tell you not to hang up. And the point of that is they don't want you to talk to someone else about the situation who may potentially talk you out of whatever the scammers are trying to get you into. Or they, like you mentioned earlier, they don't want you to do a Google search and check out their story and find out that they're just trying to scam you. If you do receive an email or text, they use specific keywords that get people to act quickly, such as immediately, urgent, or important. Scammers might include a link to click on in a message, causing you to be intrigued by what the link is or where it takes you, right? I think everyone has maybe not clicked on the link, but have gotten a message like that where you're just wondering, I wonder what that is. But resist, please. They might say your computer is about to be corrupted. And last, scammers may give you a deadline and threaten you with an or else statement, like do this or else. Scammers honestly can take some pretty drastic measures. Unfortunately, they can, as much as they don't have any back to it, they can threaten to arrest you. They may threaten to sue you, threaten to take away your driver's license or your business license. And we've heard that, people can say, scammers say that they even threaten to deport you. Scammers, like I said, can get pretty intimidating and appear convincing if you don't do what they ask. If it would ever get to that point, of course, if you feel threatened in any way, I would always say to go to the police to report that. Right? You don't want to mess around with that kind of stuff. And ultimately, the point of this scam sign is to create urgency, to get you to act quickly without thinking it through, to get you to give them what they want, which is money, which leads us into the next scam sign.
That's right. What is that last sign?
Yeah. So the fourth and final sign that it's a scam is scammers tell you to pay in a specific way. The one thing scammers are good at is finding ways for you to pay them. Again, that's the whole point of them scamming you in the first place, to try and get money from you. Scammers try and hide behind the money, so they, use various ways to have people pay them that make it harder for law enforcement to track. Although if you're willing to share your credit card or account information to give them the payment that way, of course they will not be opposed to that, whatever way is, going to be easier and the quickest to get the money. But the various ways that they may ask you to pay them might be sending money through a money transfer company. This is usually when you take cash and purchase a check or wire funds to the person the scammer is telling you to send the funds to. And I guess the point of some of these ways that they ask you to pay is just so easy for people to fall victim to. A place like this, you can go to some major retailers that will do this for you, gas stations, convenience stores, and there are even specific stores for doing this exact type of transaction, which in most cases are not usually fraudulent.
Mm-hmm.
But they make it so easy for you to do this. Putting money on a gift card and then giving the scammers the number on the back of the card, whether you take a picture of it.
Are you telling me that the federal government does not take payment through iTunes cards?
No, they don't. They do not. Please do not fall for that scam. And I will get to that actually.
Okay.
Some scammers will send you a check, tell you to deposit it, and then send them money. Then you'll find out a few days later the check is returned, and now you're out the money, and you have to pay the debt back because you're ultimately responsible, when you deposit the check. And another way the scammers may ask you to send them money is via a cash app or virtual currency. And even if you don't have specific accounts set up for these types of transactions, of course, scammers are always very willing to help you get these accounts set up to make it easier for you to send them the money. So all of these different ways are usually harder for law enforcement to trace where the funds are actually going. And of course, the point of this sign is very obvious, right? They're trying to get the money from you, so getting you to pay them. And again, like you mentioned, just a few things to keep in mind if you find yourself in this situation. Most companies or organizations won't ask you to pay in a specific way, like your utility bill or the government. Paying by a prepaid card, you usually don't pay that way. Paying with a money transfer or a cash app transfer or virtual currency, and a legitimate company will never send you money to then ask you to send them money back. Like, you just have to think of, like, does this make sense for a legitimate business or organization?
Yeah, that one I think hits a lot of people that are business owners first.
Right. Yes.
We're hiring you for a service. Here's the fee up front. Oops, we sent you too much. Please send back what we sent you extra.
Yes, exactly. Yep. And a lot of times those are for online sales too, which we'll get into in a little bit. But selling large item sales, and they send you a check for over the amount, and they say, "Oh, well, you just deposit that, and you send me some back," or it's the extra amount is for your convenience fee, and then send some money back, and now you're out the item because you sent the item over to them, and the check gets returned. Now you have to pay that back too. So,
all right, Heidi, we've thrown a lot of information at folks here. Why don't you wait through the bottom of the hour break, and we'll recap and provide a couple of other tips as well to avoid scams. Is that okay?
Sounds great. Thanks, Jonathan.
Sounds good. We were talking with Heidi Kiecker. She is the fraud officer at Fox Communities Credit Union. This is Bringing It to You Straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. This is Bringing It to You Straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. I'm Jonathan Krause, in for Haley 10 Pass this month, and we are talking with Heidi Kiecker, fraud officer with Fox Communities Credit Union, about ways to avoid a scam. If you could, Heidi, like I said, we threw a lot of information at people here over the last two segments. So what can listeners take away from the 4 signs that you've talked about so far?
Through a lot today, so I'll briefly recap the 4 signs. So the 4 signs that it's a scam are: scammers pretend to be from an organization to gain your trust. Scammers say there's a problem or prize to make you think they are trying to help you. Scammers pressure you to act immediately so you don't think it's a scam. And then finally, number 4, scammers tell you to pay in a specific way to make it the easiest and quickest for them to get their money.
So what then can our listeners do to help avoid falling for one of these scams?
Yeah, so there are several things that you can do to protect yourself from falling for a scam. You want to block unwanted calls and text messages. Take time in the steps to block unwanted calls and to filter unwanted text messages. And go into your settings on your phone, and there's ways to block and filter those sorts of things. If you don't recognize a phone number, honestly, have it go to voicemail. If it's a legitimate call, they'll leave a voicemail, and you can return their call after that. Don't give your personal or financial information in response to a request that you did not expect. Legitimate organizations won't call, email, or text to ask for your personal information, like your Social Security number, your financial account, or credit card numbers. If you get an email or text message from a company you do business with and you think it's real, it's still best not to click on any links. Instead, contact them using a website you know is trustworthy, or look up their phone number. Call that number directly that you looked up. Don't call a number they gave you or the number from your caller ID. Resist the pressure to act immediately. Legitimate businesses will give you time to make a decision. Anyone who pressures you to pay or give them your personal information is a scam or just not maybe a good business to do business with. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Know how scammers tell you to pay. As I touched on earlier, never pay someone who insists you pay with a gift card or by using a money transfer service. Never deposit a check and send money back to someone. It just doesn't make sense. Why would they give you money to then have to send money back to them? And then finally, stop and talk to someone you trust. Before you do anything else, tell someone, a friend, family member, a neighbor, and even your financial. We're here to help. Don't be ashamed. Come and tell us the different signs, and maybe we, talking through it could help you realize it's a scam and could protect yourself and your assets.
Have you had tellers keep people from getting scammed?
Yes, we have.
Excellent.
There'll be, a member or two will come in and they'll kind of go through the story, or the teller will maybe talk through a situation with the member, and we'll then realize, oh, yep, those are all the red flags, and then we'll make the member aware and stop them from doing the transaction that they were coming in to do, to give to a scammer. So don't hesitate to talk with us.
What are some common scams that people should be watching for?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, there are many ways and fraud schemes scammers will use to persuade you into giving them money. And although I will name some of the types of scams that are used, please keep in mind scammers are always creating new schemes based on current events. And one of the common scams or schemes currently are, scammers like to take advantage of people when they're vulnerable. So there's even COVID-19 related scams, when unemployment benefit scams, all those sorts of things that were COVID related. There's grandchild scam, like I mentioned earlier, the vehicle or large item sale, a charity scam, online dating or romance scam, that's usually a big one, lottery scam, refund scam, work from home opportunities, like we talked before about, the U1 scam, overpayment, or any government type of scam. So, there's just a whole gamut of different things that they try and do to coerce you to get you to pay them.
Where can our listeners go to find more information about these types of scams?
Yeah, so I always say you can always find more information about, the scams I just mentioned and more by going to the Federal Trade Commission's website, which is ftc.gov. And they're a government agency which helps America's consumers with scams like this. They're helping try and protect consumers.
Heidi, before I let you go here, how long have you been with Fox Communities Credit Union?
Yeah, I've been with Fox for over 5 years now.
Excellent.
And, working in the fraud department here.
And I'm sure you've seen all of this many times before.
Yeah, and we just try and take every opportunity to educate and prevent and protect our members and any listeners out there.
Heidi Kiecker, Fraud Officer with Fox Communities Credit Union. Thanks for joining us today on Bringing It to You Straight.
Thank you.
You bet. Have a great afternoon.
You as well.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Heather Wesley. She's a Community Engagement Manager at Fox Communities Credit Union about the Fox Cares Foundation and their new donation matching program. That is next on Bringing It to You Straight. Straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union on WHBY. Welcome back to Bringing It to You Straight. Straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. I'm Jonathan Krause in for Haley Tenpass this month, and we are now joined by Heather Wesley, Community Engagement Manager at Fox Communities Credit Union. And Heather, thanks for joining us today on Bringing It to You Straight.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You bet. Wanted to talk to you today about the Fox Cares Foundation and a new donation matching program that you have launched. So let's start with a little bit about Fox Cares Foundation. What does that do?
So the Fox Cares Foundation is a foundation that was started in 2016. It's guided by Fox Communities Credit Union, and it's a foundation that helps with three different pillars. It helps with hunger, homelessness, and the arts.
And then who exactly in the area is Fox Cares helping?
So Fox Cares helps people within our local communities in the areas that Fox Community serves. So we've helped different organizations such as Feeding America, any of the homeless shelters in any of the areas throughout Green Bay, the Fox Cities, and the Lake Shore, different organizations like that. So all of the funds that go into the foundation go back in grants to different organizations like that.
All right. I see also in here you have St. Joe's Food Program, the Harbor House Domestic Abuse Program, Golden House, Fox Valley Chorus, and Art Garage.
Yes, that's just to name a few.
Yes. How are the organizations who receive funding through the foundation picked?
So if you're part of one of the organizations that are part of one of those pillars of the hunger, homelessness, or the arts, you can go right to the foxcares.org website and apply for a grant right through that website.
How is the foundation able to help all of those programs?
So the foundation has set up in a way that different events that the credit union puts on, monies are then put into that foundation. So two of the real big ones that we get monies from for the foundation are a silent auction that we do during our employee Christmas party, and also Bike to the Beat, which some of you may have heard of. It's coming up here on August 7th. Every penny of registration for Bike to the Beat goes into that foundation. So throughout the year, as the foundation was established in 2016, over $170,000 has been granted out to the community through the foundation, through donations and stuff that have gone into the foundation because of those two big events that fund the foundation.
WHBY has been a proud partner and sponsor of Bike to the Beat for years, although we're moving to a new site this year.
Yes, I'm so sad about that, but there's a little bit of road construction on Newberry. And so we want to, safety is the utmost importance to us, and we want to keep everybody off of that busy CE trail in front of you guys over by Menards and in that busy highway. So we do have to switch our location this year. We're going to be starting from Christ the King Church right in front of Kimberly High School there in Combine Locks off of Highway N. And we also have a second starting location in De Pere, which is starting at the Abbey Bar and Grill, right over by St. Norbert's there.
Yeah, and the music part is that there are music stages that are set up along the routes where local bands are playing, and you can enjoy them for a little while.
Absolutely. So that's what makes our bike ride really unique. For the fact that it's not a race, it's a ride. So it's very family-friendly. So this isn't a type of event that, I personally have a 6 and 8-year-old. I could easily, get them on a bike. The shortest route you could choose is 5 miles. I think the kids could handle that. But then, we've got more veteran riders that want to ride a little bit more than 5 miles, obviously. So they can go all the way up to 57 miles and anything in between. We have 7 stops that are filled with food that's donated from all these wonderful local businesses. And then we partner with our friends over at Milo Music, as we're presenting sponsor Milo Music. They help us out with finding artists to play at the Bike to the Beat event. So when you stop to have, a drink and some food, you also get to take in some of this awesome live music that's part of the event.
We have Heather Wesley, Community Engagement Manager at Fox Communities Credit Union, joining us today on Bringing It to You Straight, presented by Fox Communities Credit Union. And we got a little off topic there, sidetracked with all the talk about Bike to the Beat coming up. But the foundation also has a matching grant promotion going on. How does that work?
Also very exciting. My passion is the Bike to the Beat event. I get a little excited about it.
I know.
But this whole matching thing, I know, it's hard because it's so much fun. If you guys haven't signed up for Bike to the Beat, now's the time to do it. We are going to have a price, the next round of prices is going to go up a little bit this week. So register now at bikeToTheBeat.com. But this whole matching thing is really cool, too, because like I mentioned, all of the registration fees for Bike to the Beat go into the foundation, but we really want to start up in some of the monies that go into the foundation, and so we're going to do a matching program through the credit union. So if you put money into the foundation as a donation, the credit union will actually match your money up to $25,000. So if you're going to make a donation for $20, the $20 turns into $40. And it all goes back to the community to help such awesome nonprofits in our area.
Heather, why is Fox Communities Credit Union so involved in not only just what the Fox Cares Foundation does, but so many other events here in the Fox Cities?
We're all about community. it's in our name. That's what we live and breathe. We love doing stuff in our community. This is where our employees work. This is where our families live, and we raise our kids. So anything that we can do to help our areas and the communities that we serve, that's what we're going to do, and it's just the right thing. So, having this foundation and being able to give these monies back to the community just makes sense.
I'm pretty sure you're building a new location in Oshkosh, aren't you?
We are. So that's exciting, too. We have a groundbreaking actually this week. We're breaking ground. If anyone's familiar with that new, beautiful Oshkosh truck building that you can see from 41, we're not far from there. We're right on Oshkosh Avenue. So we're breaking ground on that this week, and we hope to open our doors a little after the first of the year.
Yeah, that's about 6 blocks away from my house.
Oh, for real? We'll
yeah,
see. Now
yes.
you can walk on over, and we're going to have like the new pod set up and a coffee bar. So, you come over, make a deposit, grab a coffee. It's going to be a great setup.
Before I let you go, and if you're not comfortable with answering this, it's okay, but what is now the lobby access policy for Fox Community Credit Union?
As far as like COVID guidelines?
Yeah, COVID guidelines. Are you open? Are you taking people at walk-up teller, or is it still all drive-through?
Yep, nope. Things are pretty much back to normal over at Fox CU. So lobbies are open. You can interact with our staff just like you used to. We do have the protective glass in between the tellers and the members. Drive-throughs obviously very, very much open, just like it was before, in case you're not comfortable coming into the lobbies. But yeah, things are kind of back to normal at Fox. Like, you can still come in and meet with a lender. Car loan rates, mortgage rates are awesome. They're at a great, low right now. So now's the time. If you are looking at moving or buying a new house, come talk to Fox. We'd love to help you out.
Before I let you go, if you could recap again, let's start with the grant matching promotion going on. If you want to donate to that effort, how do you do that?
So just go to foxcares.org, and there's an area on there for you to be able to donate to the foundation. And like I said, your donation is doubled right now. Fox Communities Credit Union will double the donations that go into the Fox Cares Foundation up to $25,000. So go on to foxcares.org, make your donation, help the community that you live and work in, and just let's see this area thrive.
And then, not to get you too excited again, but give us some registration details on Bike to the Beat.
Bike to the Beat. Go to biketothebeat.com. Click on the registration button. It's a big orange button. And you can register as an individual right now for only $20. And that includes your registration fee, which, again, 100% of those registration fees go to the foundation. And you get a cool shirt. You get a swag bag, plus just the fun and excitement of the day on August 7th for Bike to the Beat. You can choose from as little as 5 miles or up to 57 miles and anything in between, and it is guaranteed a great time. Whether you're an experienced bike rider or it's your first time out, it's guaranteed to be a blast.
It certainly is. I appreciate your time, Heather.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for having me.
You bet. We'll talk to you again next month. Heather Wesley, Community Engagement Manager at Fox Communities Credit Union, joining us here today on Bringing It to You Straight. Straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. We'll be back again next month on the second Monday of the month for another show. Thank you for listening.
The previous program was hosted by Fox Communities Credit Union. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers.